you like audiobooks or audio shows, check out a free trial of Audible. Just click the link in the description.
Welcome to Mindshock. You are listening to the Altered History series. This is episode 7, Ocean Floor Civilizations. We will be exploring one theory that's one of the most mind-shocking I've ever heard. And that's saying a lot. I am, of course, your host, Bruce McGuire. And if you enjoy the podcast, you can donate to our PayPal. Just check the link in the description. Make sure to subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for notifications. If you like this particular podcast, hit the like button and share it across social media platforms, of which you can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Reddit, and Patreon. Patrons do get priority for case and topic co-podcaster requests, and depending on your tier, you can be a guest on the podcast as well. Questions, comments, theories, thoughts, suggestions, debunkings, rebuttals of any kind, leave them in the comment section. So if you're not new to this series, we focus on, of course, the questionable history of mankind. The official narratives by the academic institutions of the world, which, of course, we don't put blind faith into because that would be scientism and authority worship. Real science and real truth is dependent upon logic and reason to discern, which we attempt to do on Mindshock in a myriad of topics. In Altered History, we examine, of course, the old adage, the victors write the history book. So how are we to know what the true history of mankind is? We've gone over some quite mind-shocking topics, everything from DNA cycling to mud flood and Tartaria. And today we will be examining a lesser talked about theory, the lost underwater civilizations, but furthermore, not just that, which is of course a fascinating topic, that Atlantis might lie on the sea floor somewhere, but is it possible that the grand catastrophe, the great flood, whatever you want to call it, whether you believe it happened recently, not recently, of course, this is all up to speculation and debate. Is it possible that the sea floor before the Great Flood, and if there were multiple floods, of course the Mayans point to the Earth restarting many times over. We're on the 7th incarnation or something of that nature. And a topic for another podcast, of course, is 2020 really 2012? And are we approaching end times due to calculation errors in calendar translations, which of course, it's very shocking. The cognitive dissonant masses who just... they're such devout scientism worshipers, and they just grovel at these altars of authorities that they think they can't be wrong, as if some calendars translated many years ago couldn't have been translated incorrectly. It's very, very strange. But on Mindshock, of course, logic and reason at the forefront. We're going to try not to fall for any logical fallacies here on Mindshock. The only thing we know for sure is that we don't know anything for sure. So, is it possible, whether it was one great flood or multiple floods, at one point, did the ocean floor of our earthly realm lay exposed? Was it not covered by water at one point? Now, of course, the depths of the ocean are different in different places. I am not talking about every single inch of ocean floor. I'm just talking about certain areas of the ocean floor, certain parts of the world. Was there a time before the Great Flood, or any number of floods, catastrophes, whatever, was there a time that certain areas of the ocean floor were above sea level? Was sea level always the same throughout history? Very, very curious questions. Now, without getting into dating technologies or anything of that nature, anybody who's kind of studied or researched ancient civilizations in any way, Atlantis, there's Bimini Road, of course, in the Bahamas on the seafloor. Some people, certain so-called academics, believe it's all natural. What a coincidence. It looks exactly like a man-made wall. But anyway, There's other underwater cities that have been discovered from Japan to Dwarka in India. I mean, they're all over the place. One can only imagine what percentage of the oceans are explored, what percentage of the seafloor has been mapped. Now, of course, without going into any crazy conspiracies about satellite imagery, if you're a flat earther and you believe that Google Earth has all been taken with high altitude planes, that's fine. If you believe in satellites and you believe that's been taken from satellites, that's fine. If you're a flat earther who also believes in satellites and believes they've been taken from satellites, or you're more of a classical heliocentric globe earther and you believe in satellites as advertised and you believe they took the imagery for Google Earth, or if you're a conspiracy theorist that falls in another category that believes all of Google Earth is fake and this is all CGI rendering, I think I ran all the options there. But either way, there seems to be some manipulation, blurring, blocking out of certain areas on Google Earth, whether it's Antarctica or there's certain pixelations. Nobody knows exactly what it is. I mean, it could be innocent glitches, could be, or it could be intentional obfuscation to prevent certain ancient sites from being spotted by the masses on Google Earth. Regardless of what the truth is, I am not pretending to know what it is or what it isn't. This is Mindshock. We're just exploring all these possibilities. But how many undiscovered ruins might lie on the ocean floor, on this earthly realm, regardless of whether you believe it's a globe, whether you believe it's a flat earth, whether you believe it's some kind of other type of realm that can't be classified as a globe or flat plane. There's more and more of those people popping up. Maybe there's something to that theory. I don't know. That's a topic for another podcast, of course. So, with the potential for many more ruins than have been discovered, because think about the timeline here. Some of these ruins have only been discovered within the past 10, 20 years. And all of this money is being funneled in NASA that could be used to explore our own Earth and the ocean floors. I mean, who knows what treasures and history is lost at the bottom of the sea? Probably a lot. So if all that money had gone, all these trillions and trillions of dollars over the years, if that had gone into exploring our own Earth, because I don't know there's a lot of estimates out there, everything from 70 to 80% of the oceans are unexplored relative to their totality. And I don't know if that specifically focuses on the ocean floor, because obviously certain places, the ocean floor is pretty far down. Mariana's Trench, some of these other trenches that are there's quite a ways down to explore, but how much of it has been mapped and explored thoroughly? Not these tertiary overviews where it was either written off as nothing found or whatever. But some of these ruins, even in Japan and India, they're pretty magnificent. Was it, again, if we're circling back to the theory of Atlantis, if Atlantis was a worldwide civilization, it wasn't one specific area. It was possibly an ancestor of Tartaria. If Tartaria was a worldwide civilization, is it possible that Atlantis was a civilization that preceded it, or possibly even before that? Lemuria gets thrown around. Was that before Atlantis? There's a lot of different theories out there. And of course, the truth is stranger than fiction. So we have to keep all of that in mind, all these possibilities in mind, without falling for any logical fallacies or appeal to incredulity, logical fallacies. The truth is whatever it is, independent of what our feeble minds can fathom. So, going back to the unexplored ocean floor, if at one point it was sea level or above sea level, what does that mean? So if that was Atlantis, how many previous Atlantises could there have been? How old is our earthly realm? Because even if you believe devoutly in the Bible, and we put the estimate 5,000 years, is it possible there was a mistranslation there? So, again, what did the older versions of the Bible say? Is it possible the time periods were kind of mixed up. Of course, it's a possibility. We don't really know that. So, is it? And the other thing is, how literal was it? So, is it possible it meant the earthly realm in its current incarnation, and there were other earthly realms before that it doesn't reference? I don't know. Further theories that are quite out there, and this is Mindshock, so I will touch upon them. There are some theories out there that these ancient civilizations had, of course, stargates or things similar, not necessarily to go to other planets, but let's say other dimensions, just to keep it, I don't know, perhaps that's a little simpler way of thinking about it. Is it possible that there are these catastrophes in the physical realm, and some of these ancient civilizations were able to travel through some kind of gates that they constructed, or some kind of lost knowledge that they had that we don't have? I mean, who knows if it's lost? Perhaps the Vatican has it in their Vatican archives. Perhaps the Illuminati and the powers that be understand exactly what it is. I mean, I've touched upon it before. There was an old world order. We have the new world order here. Was the old world order similar to the new world order, where they were trying to create a unified one world government? Does that lead to the end? So in all these ancient civilizations, is it possible they achieved this advanced technology, much greater than anything we have, of course, because the farther back in time you go, I mean, it seems their architecture was just amazing. It wasn't just about how tall you can build a building. It was the beauty of the architecture, the stone, the statues, these realistic statues. Our modern civilizations can build really, really high. It can build big, but can it build to last hundreds or thousands of years? And does it evoke that artistry that these ancient civilizations were able to master and capture? So, is this possible that all these older world orders just advanced in technology and worldwide civilizations to the point of destruction, and we don't know what that destruction was? Was the destruction brought about by themselves, from within? Was it from without? Was it natural disasters? Was it interdimensional entities or gods of some kind? We don't really know, obviously. But regardless of the reason, is it possible that these ancient civilizations had some kind of stargates where they were able to come back and forth? And does that have something to do with the Mandela effect? Obviously, I'll have to do a dedicated podcast on the Mandela effect. It's a very troublesome conspiracy. I'll put it that way. It's difficult to write off outright. And there are some, not falling for black and white fallacies. A lot of people like to say, oh, it's either time changing or it's people misremembering. Well, no. There's quite a few other possibilities, which I will get into. But that aside, is it possible that time, again, the ancients kind of thought of time as a loop more than point A to B in a straight line, kind of the way we sort of think about it in modern times. But is it time, if time is kind of a loop that you can jump in and out of, and are these stargates able to go into other dimensions and come back at other points in time? Does that account for the seeming lapses in technology? Did the ancient Greeks have genetic engineering with these centaurs and minotaurs and monsters? Was that all literal? Did that have to do with civilizations using stargates to come in and out of timelines and dimensions to avoid catastrophes, or possibly worldwide plagues, if these plagues were not engineered, man-made, or possibly not even real? Are we going through the same cycle right now? These are very, very interesting questions to ponder. Now, obviously, coming up with answers is very, very difficult. But what we can do is look at some of these ancient sites that are just extraordinary. And we can see what underwater cities have been discovered. And we can ponder about the countless other cities as of yet undiscovered. And that's without even going into the flat earth theory, or even the theory that the earth is a heliocentric globe much larger than disclosed. And if Antarctica is much larger, regardless of whether you're talking flat plane or a much larger globe, or even on a 25,000 mile in circumference globe, how much of Antarctica has been discovered, has been explored? What lies under the ice? Are there lost civilizations under the ice of Antarctica? Of course, we have the Piri-Reis map, which shows Antarctica without ice. How long ago was that? We have a lot of problems in tracing our history. And that's why this is the Altered History podcast, because has history been altered? Has it been altered intentionally to keep most of humanity, the cognitive dissonant masses, with all of their biases and indoctrination into cults of authority? Is it to keep them in the dark, to keep them these tax wage slaves, and not really discover the true potential and power of the human soul? And what more than one actualized, realized human soul working with other actualized souls can accomplish? Is it possible to restore mankind to the glory of previous worldwide civilizations like Atlantis or Tartaria? I don't know, and I don't even know if those were the good guys. Perhaps the path we're kind of going down right now to totalitarianism, to these predictions from these dystopian novels and media, where technology just advances, this technocratic totalitarian state that just shuts down human freedoms to perpetuate domination. Does that lead to the end? And in previous civilizations, again, let's not fall for black and white fallacies. Maybe the Atlanteans were the bad guys, the Tartarians were the good guys. Maybe they were both the good guys, maybe they were both the bad guys. Maybe they were both the good guys who were infiltrated by other entities, humans or not, that led to their destruction for whatever purpose. If you haven't checked out the Mindshock podcast Jester World, you can check that out, because all through mythology there's been these spirits, these trickster spirits. I mean, even the devil himself is often referred to as a trickster type of spirit that is just out there to cause chaos and destruction. Is that what happened to some of these civilizations? Many, many things to ponder, many mind-shocking theories. But I just wanted to do an episode to kind of tie all that together, because you don't see a lot of people talking about how all of these different puzzle pieces fit together. And I think that's very important, because if you focus only on one piece and you become very, very well versed in one piece, if you don't know how it fits together with all the other pieces, you're not really going to truly even be able to understand that one piece. And the puzzle has many pieces. There's so many unknown unknowns. So we don't even know how many pieces the puzzle actually has. But the best we can do is engage our logic and reason, not fall for logical fallacies, and attempt to discern, attempt to decipher the clues left from these ancient civilizations of the past, and what little evidence we have to put it in chronological order the best we can, which is obviously not very well, without being dependent on these authorities or these fallible human dating technologies. So, plenty more to come. In the Altered History series, we'll be looking more at different world fairs, which of course are very, very curious, from the architecture to the technology on display to their very purpose. Were these civilizations found nations, foundations? Was this masonry free? Freemasons, Freemasonry? Was all of this built in the New World prior to arrival and colonization? We have plenty more questions we need to dive deep into in order to try to make sense of it, to make heads or tails. Because it's quite obvious that the official narrative is very problematic, and some people, namely critical thinkers, aka conspiracy theorists, are not willing to take it on blind faith that certain particular humans were either not mistaken or completely honest about everything for all reasons, without any desire to control other humans, to exploit other humans, because all of human history has certain common threads. And of course, these masters and controllers and rulers and kings and queens have, for all of history, attempted to rule, to dominate, and to conquer. So this would not be surprising for any critical thinker employing logic and reason. Hope you guys enjoyed another edition of the Mindshock podcast and the Altered History series. If you like the podcast, you can donate to our PayPal. Help us get more episodes out there faster in all of our ongoing series. Just check the link in the description. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for notifications. Make sure you allow your device to have those notifications come through so you can be notified when new podcasts are released. If you liked this particular podcast and found it mind-shocking, hit that like button and share it across social media platforms. Questions, comments, thoughts, theories, suggestions, rebuttals, debunkings of any kind, leave them in the comment section. You can check us out on Twitter, Reddit, Facebook, Patreon. Patrons do get priority for case topic, co-podcaster requests. This is Bruce McGuire signing off. Catch you guys next time.